Maybe. I mean, just because you're with someone who's well known or respected in the industry, you also have to show that you understand as you turn it into an agency retainer. So something that you've done to drive results for a client.
Hey everyone, you are most welcome to this amazing episode of Racks to Riches, and we have an amazing guest who's not needed any introduction, but again he is known as $1 per day uh, strategy guy, and also he is the one who has spent $1 billion on ads. So, dear guest, you are most welcome on the show.
Hey, Abhinandan, pleasure to be on your show.
Perfect, perfect. So let me share with the audience over here that today the topic that we are covering is that is we have already written over here that framework that built millionaires, and we have a set of question that you guys have just asked me to ask him. We'll be asking him in the rapid fire session by the end of the podcast. So let's begin with the session. So Deniss, like the audience is super excited to know a little of you, although like people are just one search away to know about you. Like if I could say like in one or two sentences, I would love to know it from you. Like the audience would love to know it from you.
What would you say?
It would be like a little of intro, like
No, what
right
would
now
you
what
say
you're
is one sentence? If you
in
were to
one
summarize for
sentence.
me, what would you say?
One sentence, I would say that he is your go-to guy in your internet marketing world.
Okay,
Right.
not bad.
So okay, let's go ahead with the questions over here. Like, can we get started with the uh, topic over here? What is the framework that built millennia in the internet world?
There's many ways to make a lot of money, but more important than making the money is how you make the money.
All
And
right.
one of my mentors had told me that the money that you make is a percentage of the value that you create. So if
Right.
you want to, if you solve $1 million problem, maybe you make $10,000, $20,000. If you solve $1 billion problem, maybe you become a millionaire. If you solve $100 billion problem, you can become a billionaire. So there are frameworks, but the main one is creating value. The more value you create, the more you can make with a product or service.
All right. So here, I would like to emphasize on the particular word that you are mentioning over here, adding value and solving the problem. So like a lot of people are confused with the particular word saying adding value. What does it exactly mean? How it is being defined?
Adding value is when you have a product or service. So if you help someone make more money, if you fix their car, if it's scale, you can create websites, whatever it is that you can do, there's a value in the marketplace, whether it's on Fiverr to see what it is, or whether you see what other people are charging for the same kind of thing. But it's very clear based on people that are similar to your experience and similar to the clients that you have, what the value of that is, and it's being able to do it at scale repeatedly.
All right. All right. So moving forward to the question, adding value. That's something what is interesting. But what is the exact thing? Like if let's say if I have a product that is worth $1,000, so how
Mm-hmm.
long do I have to sell it to the people so that I reach to 1 million?
No, think about it. The math is very simple. If you make $83,000 a month, 83,333, that's $1 million. So if you have $1,000 product, you have to sell it 83 times a month. Ideally, it's a recurring product or it's some kind of service like a retainer. And you have people that pay you that $1,000 every month. Like maybe you're a digital marketing agency and you serve course creators or home service businesses or whatever it is. You have 83 clients that are paying you that $1,000 a month. What can you do that someone will pay you $1,000 a month for? Well, it better be worth $5,000, maybe $10,000, so that they feel like they're getting a great deal by paying you $1,000.
Right. Okay. So that's simple. So I want to tell the audience over here, it is the same thing that you have been listening to on our podcast, and it is now completely confirmed from the mastermind from himself that you need to do your maths, and that's how you would make $1 million, right? So perfect. Let's move through the questions over here. Like, what is the $1 day strategy?
What would you say it is?
Uh, I would say like that must be spending it on the ads.
Dollar a day is a testing strategy. It's not advertising, even though technically it is advertising. When you're a business and you're trying to drive sales and you're trying to convince people to buy, convince people to attend your webinar, convince people to give you an email address, convince people to put in a credit card to buy, there's many ways that you could say it. There's many kinds of ads that you could create. There's many landing pages. So when you test combinations of these creatives, could be videos, could be emails, could be things generated by ChatGPT, the testing of finding out which ones work is what the dollar a day strategy does. So it's basic math. Maybe you have 10 ads. How do you know which one is going to perform the best? The dollar a day strategy is a way to test that.
Right. Perfect. So it's a testing strategy that is there, right? Perfect. So let's go with the question over here. And next that we have over here, when we went through on internet researching, we found, and we have also got this question from the audience, that how do you get hundreds of leads?
Hundreds of leads, easy. You have a client that you've done it successfully for, and you interview them on a podcast. You elevate them. You make them look good, not a testimonial, but you have dinner with them, right? Or you talk about how successful they are instead of talking about your product or service. People always look at what their friends, what their colleagues in the industry are doing. So if I serve real estate agents, let's just say, and I have one very happy real estate agent client, then that client will get me another 50 clients, not because of what I say, but because people trust other people that are of their type. I have a friend who does elite student coaching. So he is rich moms, international moms that have students that, you know, they're trying to get into an Ivy League school. He's got lots of great examples of that. That's how you get more. But you have to have one or two. If you don't have at least one or two, then how can anybody credibly buy from you?
All right. So what you're saying is like, let's say if I'm having a podcast, that means I have to get in touch with like, do you agree with the Dream 100 thing, that I have to connect with my Dream 100 people so that they get in touch and I make them my client, or we do some reciprocity as well?
Yeah, I don't understand. What do you mean?
It's like having the Dream 100 clients. Is that something what you meant?
Look, you don't need to have 300 clients to get to $1 million. You just need a few.
I mentioned Dream 100. Dream.
What's that? 300?
It's Dream 100.
I think we're having an internet connection. I apologize. Let's rephrase that if you could.
Okay. I said it's Dream 100. Right?
Oh, Dream 100. Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So,
Chet Holmes and Russell, well, it was coined by Chet Holmes, and Russell Brunson made it popular. But yeah, the idea of a Dream 100, that works for cold outreach, you know, cold email, but that's not necessarily the only way to do it. I believe that warm leads are more powerful because it's based on referral than it is to say, these are ideal clients and I'm going to cold call them, because why would they want to work with you? I mean, and if you're very good, if you already have some kind of success and your niche is super tight, then the Dream 100 model will help you amplify that. But a lot of people use the Dream 100 model when they don't have something that's already working, and that's why they fail. It's not because the Dream 100 model doesn't work.
all right. All right. So that's like one has to think over it twice, like how it is working for them, their Dream 100.
You have to have a successful client, assuming it's an agency or a product that people have bought, whether it's a product or a service, right? You have to have one person who really likes it, and then you can get 100 more of the same type. It's that simple, right? In that niche.
Right. That's perfect. So if I go through some question from the audience that we can take over here, it's like,
sure. Let's do it.
How do you create the ads that work?
I don't even think about it as creating ads. I talk about showing how someone was able to, I call it the XYZ method, how X achieved Y via Z, right? How this particular person achieved this business result via this technique. And the technique is the thing that I teach, is the thing that I do. And when I elevate them and I tell their story and I interview them, then it never feels like I'm selling. It never feels like advertising. It's actually education. And that's what the pros do.
All right. All right. That's something interesting over here. So moving forward to the next question over here that we have got from the audience is, uh, what is your one advice? I won't even ask for one, but I'm just reframing it. What is your advice to make money with AI? That question has come from the audience.
AI, well, the easiest thing is start with actual experience. So Google has a quality rater guideline that's called EAT, expertise, authority, trust, and they've changed it to EEAT, and then extra E is experience. So if you start with your actual experience, start with a picture, start with some piece of content, some video snippet, you can use the AI to enhance that and amplify that. But if you just create content from scratch, which is what most people are doing, anybody can do that. And that doesn't differentiate you. Google can see right through that. And I think clients can tell as well, right? Because clients will buy based on your actual experience and your actual relationships, not how clever ChatGPT or other AI tools can write content.
All right. All right. That's also interesting. So moving forward to some question that we have from audience, like after that we'll be moving with some other questions as well. It's like people have got some questions regarding they have seen you on the videos, so they have been asking for the video tips, like what is the video marketing tips you would give?
Well, number one thing, if you're making video, make sure you know the topic. So if you're interviewing somebody, do the research on them, right? Otherwise, you're asking people the same set of questions. You know, if you are a podcast agency and you help people promote their podcast, then show that your podcast episodes are getting traffic. Show that you're taking these episodes and you're chopping them up into different pieces and putting them on the web and putting $1 a day against it to be able to test, right? Show there's nothing better in video marketing than to show what you actually do. Not selling, not talking about how awesome it is, but literally showing, documenting how you do what you do. Like a day in the life, very authentic. That's what people want to hear. That's what convinces people to buy, not the fact that you have a $60,000 camera or you have a fancy video editing software. Number one video editing tip is start with experience, right? Video marketing, people want to hear stories, and they can tell when they've been lied to. They can tell when someone is BSing.
All right. All right. That's interesting that you mentioned one point, that documenting the journey. That is something what would help you going ahead. Awesome. So let's move through some questions, real questions over here. Like, let's say if there is a beginner starting with this marketing agency, let's say we talk about video marketing agency, how that person can grow the agency, the video marketing agency.
Start with a great client. Instead of focusing on growth, look, everyone wants to make more money, get more clients, but take care of the clients you already have, right? When you take care of the clients, they talk to other people. They don't have to go out and cold call all the time. That's what other people seem like they're doing, but that's not what the most successful people do. The most successful people, they have more business than they know what to do with, because they can't handle everybody, because they're seen as the best. Now, if you don't have one client, then your issue is more in your business strategy and fulfillment than it is on growing, right? So you're in one of two buckets. Either you have happy clients and you can use those to get more, or you don't have that yet. And if you don't have that, then partner with somebody who does.
Right, right. So that means, are you saying that if somebody has no idea how to have these great clients, is it all right to start a show and have those potential guests on the show and make them your
you could, but you don't want them thinking that you're inviting them to a podcast when really you're just trying to sell services to them.
Right, right. So
you have to actually honor the podcast. You have to actually be honoring them.
Right, right. So
otherwise, it's just a disguised sales call.
Right, perfect. So that here's the point that I wanted to ask. Really, it's like, let's say you are hanging out with them, and might be the chances would be like some other clients who are seeing you are having some awesome guests on your show. So
sure,
you must be having some strategy. You must be having some skills so that you will be able to help those potential clients?
Maybe. I mean, just because you're with someone who's well known or respected in the industry, you also have to show that you understand what they do, because people that are watching, they can tell whether you are just a random person asking them a bunch of questions and whether you've done any preparation or whether you're good friends. So last night I had dinner with David Meerman Scott, who has the #1 best-selling book in marketing of all time. And he and I have been friends for a long time. And you could just tell because of the way we interact, because of, us having dinner together. And he was on my podcast. And the podcast, I asked very specific questions of him. And you could tell based on the vibe that we're friends, right? So it's not enough to have someone on a podcast. You have to be able to show the closeness of the relationship.
Right. So that's really interesting. So all the myths are being busted over here that people have been asking out there, like you can have these ways of clients. So that's really interesting. Going forward to the question over here, that there is a term, something called productizing your knowledge, right? Since you have been into it, how one can build their brand and productize that knowledge?
There's two ways of doing it. One is you turn it into an agency retainer. So something that you've done to drive results for a client, you can productize it and have other people be able to purchase it because you have virtual assistants or other team members doing it. Another related thing is either a product as a service or a SaaS, where same thing, people pay an ongoing monthly fee, $200 a month, $1,000 a month. And that creates a higher lifetime value because you have recurring revenue. People stay with you for a year, maybe. So $500 a month is now, $6,000 for a year. But the idea of productizing, it's not productizing your knowledge so much as productizing the delivery of something that you do. Like you edit videos, for example. How do you scale that? How do you turn it into a package that's repeatable, that it's not custom every time for each person?
Right. All right. So that means one has to take care of the things that you are telling, right? So that's perfectly amazing. Last, I will be moving through some last questions over here. We have seen that while I was just doing the research out there, so we saw that you help people to build the brands through the content. So I would love to know, and like even the audience would love to know, how one can they build their brand and still stay relevant in this 2023 and upcoming the years.
#1 tip is honor other people that have successfully done the thing that you want. Could be a mentor, could be a client, could be a colleague, could be someone that you admire in the industry, whether you know them or not. But if you do the research on them and you know what they do and you pull them on your podcast and you honor them because you clearly have done the research, then that shows everyone else that you understand relationships. It shows that you know how to work with other people.
All right. All right. Interesting. So here's my last question. I really would like to ask, what are the 3 questions you think you would have been asked on any of the podcasts?
That I haven't been asked?
That you think you should have been asked on any of the podcasts?
Oh, I mean, the most common ones are, how do you build your brand to know people that are famous? Or, how does the dollar a day technique work? Can I be successful in starting an agency? A lot of those.
All right. And how would you reply to that?
I'd say get a mentor who's done the thing that you want. A lot of people want to give you advice, but they don't have credibility because they haven't done that particular thing.
Right. Perfect. So let's wrap this up. Like, these were the questions that I really wanted to ask over here to confirm it from a mastermind just like you, who can answer the questions of the audience. Thank you so much, Deniss, for being an amazing guest and answering the question of my audience who has been willing to ask it from you. So thank you so much for sharing the valuable nuggets with my audience.
Thank you, Abhinandan. Pleasure to be on your podcast.
Right. Perfect.
All righty.